Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now. And Brooks, there's just been a lot changing with this forecast, a lot to keep an eye on, and a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, and it all goes back to that future Hurricane Melissa down in the Caribbean. And it's going to have a lot of impacts for our area as far as onshore wind goes this weekend, and that's producing an emerging erosion threat for us. So just chew away even more.
Which is not great because we just saw some of that a little bit ago.
And a lot of the beaches had been recently nourished, where they put a lot of sand on the beach, and a lot of that beach got chewed away, and sometimes in some cases totally chewed away. And like under the sun globe here in Daytona Beach, like all of it was just pulled right back out to sea, like 4 feet of it. And so if this happens this weekend with another erosion event, if there's any remaining sand out there, it could also get sort of chewed away and more erosion happening. So this is going to be a developing issue. But in the meantime, it is only Tuesday. This would set up for this coming weekend. So for beach plans, heads up. It could be a little rough for us, to say the least. We've got a warm day out there today. We're going to top out about 88 degrees this afternoon. Moderate levels of humidity. It won't be anything we haven't seen before, can't deal with. But we have a cold front coming in for tomorrow. So it's going to get kind of breezy out there. And this cold front's really going to dry things out for us. And it's also going to set the stage for that erosion event for this weekend, as it is associated with high pressure that's going to anchor off the northeast coast. In one way, protecting us from that developing hurricane, but in another way, leading to a really strong easterly flow from basically the middle of the Atlantic all the way to Daytona Beach and also Satellite Beach. And so it's going to provide a lot of wind out there. So this comes through tomorrow and Thursday. It's going to make for a delightful end to the work week with highs in the low 80s, a lot of sunshine, and very low humidity levels. Now, as it approaches, we may see tonight after dark, maybe around bedtime, a round of some showers, maybe a very brief, heavier downpour before it moves out. And that will be it for the rain chance. So it's a really, really low rain chance after a warm day today, topping out at 89 in Winter Haven in Polk County, about 83 at Daytona Beach. All right, so let's talk about the tropics. This is the big conversation of the moment. We've got, of course, Melissa, which has just formed. Tropical storm Melissa has just formed. And this is just coming out right now from the National Hurricane Center. They've determined that it has a closed low and winds of at least 40 miles per hour. So the cone will be released momentarily, this 100% chance of development coming to fruition. Melissa is likely to track toward Haiti, which is just east of Jamaica, stall this weekend, and then very slowly work northward into either Jamaica or more likely the waters between Jamaica and Haiti, and that's south of Cuba, and then sit there for a couple of days, and all the while send copious amounts of rain into Haiti and toward the Dominican Republic. You have to remember that these islands are not flat. These aren't like Florida barrier islands. In fact, in Haiti, there are mountain peaks that exceed 9,000 feet. And on the Dominican Republic side, that island is one island. It's called Hispaniola. There's a 10,100-foot peak. Most of the rain in a hurricane is below 8,000 feet. So if you have an orographic upglide, it's called, where that rain is forced up the mountain, it wrings it out. Every last drop is wringed out, and it results in incredible rainfall totals that happen at the high elevations and that they fall as giant muddy rivers carrying debris, mudslides, landslides, just raging rivers, a torrent sweeping away villages, homes, structures that are in their way, and it can lead to a catastrophic loss of life. And we saw that set up in 2016 with Hurricane Matthew in Haiti, killing over 700 people. Now, I want to show you this before we get into the details of all that. There is still considerable uncertainty as to where this is going to track. I showed you those spaghetti models that took a lot of it into like Haiti. This is a conglomeration of the three major computer models, the GFS, Euro, and Canadian. And without nerding out too much on what this is, each line represents one member of each model family. So the yellow lines is the European model, and it's 50 or so members. Each model has different, what are called perturbations, where you can put slightly different inputs into the initialization. This is getting nerdy, but follow me on this one. And it can affect, it basically accounts for errors. So like, let's say you have bad data, and you manually put a little perturbing element into it, it'll account for that and then give you a different track. So it's a way to sort of catch all with errors and bad data and get an idea of what may happen. And the green is the GFS model, the American, the blue is the Canadian model. Overwhelmingly, there's two camps, but most of them, the two scenarios, most of them take it toward Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Some take a little bit farther west toward Jamaica and the Cayman Islands before curving into Cuba. That farther westward track would be a much stronger hurricane. We're talking potential Cat 4, Cat 5, which would be like the 2008 Hurricane Paloma that decimated the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. And so, either way, it's a bad scenario, right? The red one is that stronger hurricane scenario. As of right now, the more likely scenario is going to be the yellow scenario, and you'll see that reflected in the National Hurricane Center cone. Now, our exclusive Fox weather model projects rain totals, and it is projecting between 20 and 40 inches of rain if it takes that track toward Haiti, if it stalls just west of Haiti. The eye doesn't have to hit Haiti. It can be 100 miles west of Haiti in the open water south of Cuba between Jamaica and Haiti. But being a tropical system, the east side is the dirty side, and waves of rain, Garrett, will be pushed up slope and wrung out. I mean, 46 inches in mountainous terrain is going to be unthinkable.
Right. I mean, those numbers are actually absolutely mind-blowing. 40 to 50 inches of rain, and we know, the infrastructure there, some of what they deal with, they're not going to be able to handle that.
No, they'll have almost no assistance from the government. They've had vast political instability. There was unfortunately an assassination of the president in 2021 from gangs. Gangs have essentially taken over Haiti, and a UN-backed troop from Kenya was actually deployed to Haiti to try and shore it up politically and keep the peace, and they've been struggling with very few resources. UN-backed, but from the nation of Kenya to bolster the organization of that most impoverished nation in the Western Hemisphere. So it's essentially a mess over there politically and socially. They've also deforested most of the territory of Haiti, using the wood as natural resources, whether it's to cook or burn or build. And so the slopes are largely muddy and deforested. And if they truly get 20 to 40 inches of rain, that would cause massive mudslides. Now, we've seen this before. 2016 Hurricane Matthew dumped 20 to 40 inches, unfortunately killed about 700 people or more. A lot of people were unaccounted for. And just to give you an idea of the comparison, over on the Dominican Republic side, which is on the east side of the island, only 4 people died during Hurricane Matthew. So it shows you the difference in the infrastructure and the preparedness. I mean, they may not even be able to get warnings distributed to a lot of these people. So it's like on that level. So yeah, this could be a big deal. I have personally seen it rain like this once in my life, and a lot of people probably will not. I can't believe I did. I happened to be in Houston, Texas, working at a TV station there when Hurricane Harvey hit in 2017, Garrett, and we had between 50 and 60 inches of rain. Now, Houston is like Florida. It's a pancake. It's flat. Mm-hmm. So it pooled and puddled and became a big pond. I mean, it was in itself terrible. A lot of people died, and it flooded a lot of homes. It was unthinkable. I can't describe what 50 inches of rain looks like. But one thing they didn't have was mountains. And so the mountains basically amplify everything, like times 10, and produce a velocity to the rain. So that flows and it causes untold damage. So if this takes a track anywhere west of Haiti, it could be a really big problem for those folks. So folks in Haiti, maybe you have friends, family, any connection there. Use this stream as an opportunity to let them know of at least the potential. This is not a guarantee of a forecast, but it's a potential. The other part of the weather story is this. It's king tide season. Our highest tide of the season comes November 6th. We're approaching that, so with our high tides, we're getting to these situations where, devoid of any storms, there's very little beach left, as you can see. Our high tide was earlier this morning. Tide is now going out, but there's still very little beach on Daytona. Hurricanes Ian and Nicole back in 2022 helped take away a lot of that sand. And this weekend, with future Hurricane Melissa setting up somewhere between Jamaica and Haiti, and it's a very slow march through the Caribbean, it will represent a really deep area of low pressure that will clash with a very strong area of high pressure across the Northeast, creating what's called a pressure gradient, where the wind rushes between the two systems, and that's going to produce a pretty stout easterly flow and get our waves kicking up about 10 to 12 feet over the waters. And as that pushes inland, we're going to have large breaking waves and higher than normal tides. So a weekend erosion event potential is now setting up across our area. All right, in the 7-day forecast, on a happier note, we are looking at the arrival of drier air Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for a really pleasant into the work week and start to the weekend with just wonderful conditions. And then starting Saturday, it'll start to get windy, and we'll get a couple of showers as well coming in off of the Atlantic Sunday and Monday. One other note is that eventually around, say, Halloween, Melissa, probably a hurricane by then, will likely pass well east of us, probably via the Turks and Caicos and then out in the open Atlantic. But in doing so, it could help pull a cold front into Florida, which would result in overnight lows north of Orlando in the 40s and 50s. Wow. And in Orlando, 50s to probably low 60s, so it'll be really like delightful and fall-like, but it really could be a humanitarian crisis for countries like Haiti. It's just such a unique mess right now with the geopolitics and all that stuff. Of course, I'm focusing more on the weather, but the social status and how people are living certainly bleeds over into the projected impacts.
And a country that has already seen devastation from a number of impacts. You know, we talked yesterday about the earthquake and just a number of things that they've already been through there.
2010 earthquake, it was like a 7.0. Remember the Help for Haiti benefit concerts and all that stuff, and then 6 years later, Hurricane Matthew, and now potentially this.
Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner, we appreciate you joining us.
You got it. Thank you, Garrett.